Hi everyone, welcome to Nippon Spoon. On this channel, I share halal-friendly Japanese home cooking recipes. Today, I'm going to show you how to make thinly sliced beef at home. Thinly sliced meat is everywhere in Japanese cooking. But outside Japan, it can be surprisingly hard to find, especially if you're looking for halal meat. But don't worry, we can make our own at home. Let's get started. Today, I'll be using a cut called tri-tip. I got this from a local halal market near my home. It has a nice amount of fat and rich flavor, which I personally love. But feel free to use whatever cut you prefer. Since it's very difficult to slice meat thinly at room temperature, I'm going to freeze it first, partially thaw it, and then slice it. This piece of meat is quite large, so first I'm going to cut it into smaller portions before freezing. There is one important thing to keep in mind when cutting the meat. Take a look at the direction of the grain. When slicing the meat thinly later, cutting against the grain will give you a more tender result. So, keeping that in mind, I'm going to cut the meat into smaller portions along the grain, following the direction of the fibers. Once I'm done cutting, I'll wrap the meat in plastic wrap and place it in the freezer until it is completely frozen. The meat is now completely frozen. Take it out of the freezer and leave it at room temperature for a while. This is probably the most important part of the whole process. You want the surface to soften slightly, so that your finger goes down a little bit when you press it, while the center is still cold and firm enough to slice cleanly. The tricky part is that the thawing time depends on the size of the meat, how frozen it is, and the room temperature. So it's hard to give an exact number. In this case, this free frozen piece of meat, weighing about 320 grams, reached a good semi-thawed state after sitting at room temperature for about 30 minutes. That's just a reference, of course. But after doing it a few times, you'll start to get a feel for the right level of thawing. This cut has a layer of fat on this side. I don't recommend placing the fat side on the bottom, as it can soften under the weight of the meat and stick to the cutting board. Other than that, try a few different positions and find what works best for you. Now, let's start slicing. Cut against the grain. I usually aim for thin Japanese-style slices, but feel free to slice it to your preferred thickness. Ideally, you would slice it one smooth motion, but I usually end up sawing a bit. If the meat becomes too soft and difficult to slice while you are working, it's totally fine to put it back in the freezer for about 15 minutes or until it firms up again. It can be a bit tiring, so take breaks as needed and keep going. And this is the finished sliced beef. I've put the sliced beef on a plate. Some slices came out nice and thin, while others ended up a bit thicker or broke into small pieces. But this is home cooking, so I think that's completely fine. This thinly sliced beef can be used for dishes like Gyudon, Nikujaga, or beef udon. I'll also leave the links in the description if you are interested. That's it for today. I hope you found this helpful.